Let me keep going. I selected some videos here to watch because I think it's very funny to watch. I don't want to. I want to.
But sometimes there's little things that shouldn't be in the photo that don't add to.
You know,
Hello, friends. My name is JJ, and I just turned 40 this week.
Wait a second,
Big
JJ. Come on, wait a second. Wait. All right. So, JJ, just let me put you on normal because you already talk very fast. So JJ is this very interesting Canadian YouTuber. He talks about politics and cultural stuff and a lot of other stuff. I don't know why I'm not Sabo Nerd. It's because it's not my official account here, but he's turned 40. And I'm so happy for him. Like, he could survive. Like, I'm kidding, but I mean, congratulations, JJ. You're part of my life now. I watch you whenever I can, and I wanna go and get some advices from a very old man, 40 years old man. Oh my God, JJ. Things goes fast. I remember when he was fighting against the bill, some bill in Canada. I don't know. I don't live in Canada, but he was fighting against the bill, and he was already elderly. You know, he was already like very old, and he was fighting because he trusts in his country. He trusts in his people. All right.
Hello, friends. My name is JJ.
Let me see if you can hear it first. Actually.
And I just turned 40 this week. It is a pretty big symbolic moment, as these round number birthdays always are. Doesn't really feel like that big of a deal, though, I must say. Now, here on YouTube, you will find no shortage of people offering you life advice, telling you how the world really works and that sort of thing. But I notice a lot of these people are also very young, and it is probably fair to question the depth of their insights. Not saying you can't have useful things.
Sorry. I don't have nothing to say. I just paused by mistake.
To offer the world at age 23, but perspective probably isn't one of them. As someone who is relatively old by YouTube standards, I have made a couple of videos in the last few years attempting to share some of the perspective that I've gained over the decades, just because I like to think that maybe I can offer a different point of view to my young audience than what they usually hear. I feel a strong obligation towards my young male viewers in particular, just because everybody is always saying these days that young men are in need of a higher caliber of advice from internet weirdos than they are currently getting. So let me take another crack. When I was in my late teens,
I already have to congratulate this man. This man is he's so wholesome. His channel is so great. He's a very good talker. He's a very good communicator. I think he was journalist at some point. He was so respectful. It's so different to see someone act like this. Like nowadays, politics and like everything is just so. Oh, I'm voting for Joe Biden. And you know I have like a friendship with Joe Biden. You know, he's calling me here. Hey, you're gonna do your streaming today? Yes, I'm gonna do Joe Biden. But this guy here is not only friends with the ones he disagree with. He's very friends. This is awesome. This is awesome. This is so different. This is so fucking different to see. Someone just like this guy here in my screen deserves the world. You know, he deserves the world. The least I can do is congratulate you, JJ, and I'm hearing you. I'm in my 20s. I'm not 20 years old yet, but I'm gonna become sooner or later. Like, actually soon. So I wanna hear, and you should hear as well, because this guy's got a big cock. You know. I mean, what? Sorry.
Teens and early 20s, I had a mentor named Sean, who was 15 years older than me, and I was very close to. And I have this very vivid memory of him once talking to me in this wistful way about life in your 20s and what a special time that is. And I think about Sean's words more and more as I get further and further away from my own 20s, and I realize just how right he was. For most people, your 20s are special because they are your introduction to adulthood, but are also defined by a lot of variables that you will never get to experience in adulthood again. And even though it might sound cliche, a lot of those variables come down to just one word: freedom. In your 20s, you enjoy unparalleled freedom of choice to experiment with different jobs, different apartments, different cities, different friends, different romantic partners, different hobbies, different subcultures. And again, I know that this sounds cliche, so it might be more useful if I frame this freedom in the context of what comes after. By the time your 30s come to a close, you will likely be married, have children, and own your own home. These developments will limit your freedom,
I hope so.
But you'll be fine with that because those limitations will represent the culmination of a lot of well-considered decisions about the sort of long-term life that you want to lead. They're trade-offs that you're happy to make, but they are trade-offs just the same. Settling into...
Sometimes you just don't talk anything, you just listen. The master is talking, I'm just listening. Oh, I don't have a chatahira. Why don't I have a chatahira? Let me place a chatahira, because no one is watching, but I mean, I need to, because sometime probably someone is maybe gonna come and, oh, actually it needs to be transparent, but let me fix that.
Middle age means closing a lot of doors that will never be reopened, which is why it's important that by the time you get to your door closing phase, you are not burdened by regrets. You don't want your enjoyment of your happy, stable, middle-aged life.
Stop that. That's so... I don't want to hear these things, JJ. I don't want to. Let me remove the chat from here. Fuck off. I don't want to listen to him anymore. He's right. And I hate that he's right. No, I hate that he's fucking right. I love this thing I have that I can just make any poor decision I can do. I can just, in a random Sunday, like, start doing streamings. Even though, like, I have fucking should have been working with IT already. Like, I should have, but I'm actually working with it. But I can just start it, and here it is. You know, is it gonna go and be all right in like 10 years? Am I gonna be a successful streamer? I don't think so. But here I am, exploring my freedom, and I enjoy it. I don't have no one listening for me. No one cares about me, but at least now. But I mean, I fucking love it. It's nice to do it. It's so nice. I can talk. I think I'm funny sometimes, and I think sometimes I don't know. I just can't make this out of decision. I think I won't be like willing to do this in the future, because I'll be already like very set at where I'll go. Someday I'll have a wife. I don't have even a girlfriend yet, so I can just go to parties and yowk, if you know what I mean. But I mean, it's not worth it to do the entire life. Like, if you go to parties when you're 30, and you don't have a one at least, like, not that there's something wrong, but I mean, it's probably counterproductive, that, because you're losing your time with trying to find a woman instead of actually what matters. But whatever, let's keep hearing from the master. I'm just the apprentice here.
To be constantly distracted by taunting thoughts of all of the things you could have done before you got a wife and house and kids and career, but never did. I mean, everybody in middle age gets those thoughts to some extent, but you can certainly seek to limit them by being conscious of the freedom you have in your 20s and putting a priority on doing what you can while you can. That could mean anything from spending a month in some exotic foreign country, to starting your own business, to getting a second degree, to trying your hand at being a professional YouTuber. The possibilities are truly endless. I don't know why I said pasta. Now, I know that when you are in your 20s, it is easy to get anxious about stuff like, oh, that will be too expensive, or oh, that'll be a big waste of time. But again, a lot of that anxiety comes from a lack of perspective. It is hard to appreciate this in the moment, but a lot of the risks and sacrifices that you make in your 20s just matter a lot less than the ones you will make later on. And this is just because your time to recover from the mistakes that you make in your 20s is so much longer. I mean, part of the reason why I didn't become a YouTuber till I was in my 30s was because I spent much of my 20s pursuing a career in TV news that didn't wind up going anywhere. And before that, I was an ESL teacher in Japan, and that didn't go anywhere either. The point is, you have a lot of time to experiment and a lot of
ASL as AKA English as a second language, right? If I'm not wrong. So he was teaching English. But dude, actually that was so sick, bro. That's sick. That's like I hear, bro. I hope you don't regret this. I hope you don't regret. I mean, it seems very like a very nice life. I mean, I don't know. I'm not him in his body, but I think I'm in my 20s now, and I know I have to make good choices because more and more I'll have less time, as he said, to actually roll back, you know? I cannot roll back. I mean, there are things I cannot roll back anymore. Like, I've chosen IT to my career. I've been learning IT since I'm like 14. Since I'm 40. I'm 20 now. I'm 19 now, actually. So I cannot just roll back and start over, like, be an artist. First, because I don't like anything else but software development. And second, because come on, I'm already in my 20s. I need to go out of my family's house. I need to move. I need to start. I want to go to this place here. This is my dream. This is what I need. This is what I want. Sorry. You're not seeing Canada, right? You're seeing JJ. I actually want to go to Vancouver, and JJ is from British Columbia, at least. I don't know if he's from Vancouver, but I need to go to this place here. So it's interesting to think about it, actually. I'm gonna have some time to think about it later. Let's just watch.
A lot of time to bounce back. This might sound a bit weird, but sometimes I actually feel a bit remorseful that I didn't experience more failure in my 20s. Just because failure is often a proxy for trying, and it is only by being brave enough to try new things and take risks that we gain the kind of insight into the varied experiences of life that help build wisdom in our later years. Which leads me to the next thing I want to talk about, which is ambitiousness.
Ambitiousness. Sorry, JJ. All right, we're gonna talk about ambitiousness, but I have to stop. I actually was thinking about it like 3 days ago, or I was sitting and watching some shorts, and I was like, fuck. I always criticize this kind of behavior. Like, you sit and you watch TikTok. Like, it's so stupid. You should not waste your time on that. But then I realized, like, I was doing that. And then I say, like, what am I gonna have in terms of memories when I become, like, this old here. I'm kidding. But, I mean, then I fuck off. I'm gonna do what I want to do. So this is why I started the streaming thing here. No one's watching, but whatever. I've written a book. I've always wanted to fucking write a book. I've written. It's in Portuguese, of course. No one's gonna hear about it. Nobody's watching, but I mean, as I'm talking English here, no one can read it because it's in Portuguese. Actually, if you know how to speak Portuguese, yes, you can. But I mean, and I was like, yeah, fuck off. I'm gonna do this shit here. All right, I'm gonna fucking do an article. I'm gonna release books. I'm gonna write articles on things I'm learning, and whatever. I created my PayPal account, and now I'm gonna receive dollars, cause whatever. I'm gonna fucking develop to other countries. I don't care. I'll go and I'll message people on LinkedIn like, oh shoot, you know what? I am very smart. Hire me. And they're gonna not answer me, and I'll be like, okay, didn't work. I'll do it differently now. That actually didn't work. Yeah. But I mean, quite work. I actually did some interviews after that, but I didn't pass. But actually, I was doing an interview, and the guy was so messed up, I didn't want to. All right, that's a story for another time. Ambitiousness. You have to be ambitious. Let's see what he talks about.
In addition to the nervousness that the bad decisions that we make in our 20s will be a lot more damaging in the long term than they usually wind up being, I think that too many guys in their 20s hold themselves back by dreaming too small. As anyone who has spent any time in the proverbial halls of power will tell you, it is often pretty shocking to observe up close the caliber of people who wind up in charge of stuff, whether that's a big corporation or a government or a university or whatever. It's not that they're morons, it's just that they tend to be kind of underwhelming and ordinary, as opposed to some super talented group of superhumans who exist as a class apart from the rest of us. No, the big...
Just a second, JJ, it's very hot down there in, I mean, up there, because it's up in British Columbia, isn't it? Because, bro, you're sweating. Bro, we're in winter here in Brazil, but bro, you are in summer, alright? You're in summer. Come on, man.
Biggest difference is often just that these people had ambition when it mattered. They chose to put themselves in situations where opportunities presented themselves.
Why is his lips not synced with the voice? Is it my thing or is it his thing? Let me see.
Collaboration is key for team success. With ClickUp,
Oh,
you can easily manage your team's
collaboration is
tasks
key
and
to
timelines
team.
in one app. Using
Shut up,
our
bro.
Gantt chart feature,
Shut up.
Hello, friends. My name is JJ, and I just turned 40 this week. It is a pretty
Why
big
the fuck?
symbolic moment as these ruined a professional YouTuber. The possibility didn't go anywhere either. The observe up close the caliber of people who wind up in charge of stuff, whether that's a big corporation or a government or a university or whatever. It's not that they're morons, it's just that they tend to be kind of underwhelming and ordinary, as opposed to some super talented group of superhumans who exist as a class apart from the rest of us. No, the biggest difference is often just that these people had ambition when it mattered. They chose to put themselves in situations where opportunities presented themselves, whether that meant volunteering their labor, attending public meetings, befriending big shots, stuff like that. As the famous Woody Allen quote puts it, 80% of success is showing up. Being in your 40s increasingly means being the same age as a lot of the people that are running the world. That guy that Trump picked to be his VP is literally just a few days younger than me. And when you find yourself in this situation, it is easy to get a bit resentful and think, why is that guy in charge? He's no better than me. And it's true.
JJ Mccholoughghoh, if this is how you actually say his name, regretting about he not being so like powerful or something. Bro, fuck off. You make my day every day I watch you, bro. You make my life, you know. I was already loving Canada, but now I love and I know Canada because of you. I mean, you're so important, man. He's a conservative right-wing YouTube. He doesn't even appear to be one. He's gay and whatever. So, I mean, not whatever because it doesn't matter, but because it's like so different. It's a different person. It's a different perspective we get from his channel. He's so important. His message is so fucking important. Let me see a thing here. He got almost 1 million subscribers. It's huge, bro. A lot of people, and it's been 7 years, which is hours in English. You posted a video and it's almost 100k. You're not so important? Come on. Come on, bro. You're fucking massive. You're a fucking meteor. God damn, how can he fucking say something like that? Let me... Oh, it's better. Alright.
He probably isn't any better than you. But he also probably had less self-doubt about himself when it mattered and chose not to be intimidated out of aiming high. And this is true for stuff beyond just work as well. Ambition defines everything from what sort of vacations you take to what sort of people you date. We only pursue the opportunities that we have convinced ourselves we are capable of. The director Nora Ephron has this great quote about having a baby, where she says, "The fact that I did it doesn't mean I'm the sort of person who can do it." And I feel like so much of life is like that. Some people just do things in spite of themselves, while others fret endlessly about not being the sort of person who has a right to do it. But a lot of being the right sort of person is just a matter of self-selection, so don't be so quick to skip over yourself for consideration. Now, in my last video about getting older, I talked a bit about physical decline as something that you become more aware of as you age, and that's definitely true. My doctor is currently telling me that I need to get an MRI because there is a history of heart problems in my family that tend to manifest after age 40, and that's a sort of unsettling thing that now I have to think about for the first time. But that said, having rewatched my old video, I do kind of regret portraying physical decline in overly passive terms. Specifically, this idea that a lot of guys get in much worse shape as they get older and experience a decline in self-esteem as a result. And while that does happen, it doesn't always happen. In fact, as I've gotten older, I have been consistently inspired and impressed by how many guys are able to stay fit and healthy and frankly hot well into their 40s and beyond.
And frankly hot. Oh, JJ, I love you. Fucking. And frankly hot. Let me watch it again.
Fit and healthy and frankly hot. Well into their 40s and beyond. But the key term that you hear a lot when it relates to physical fitness in middle age is maintain. Because just as you cannot decline from nothing, you cannot stay fit and healthy from nothing either. What you establish in your 20s is critically important, whether that means the exercise routine you follow, or the muscle that you build, or the diet that you eat, just because that at least gives you much better odds of being able to stay in good shape in the subsequent decades of your life. In my own case, the reason why I think I have been able to stay relatively thin and have high energy and maintain fairly youthful looking hair and skin is because in my 20s, I decided that I was not ever going to drink or smoke or do drugs or even consume caffeine, and that I was going to integrate going for long walks into my daily routine. And because I've managed to stick to all of that over the decades, upholding these decisions has become so deeply integrated into the texture of my daily existence that I don't even think that much about it. I am definitely a big believer in the idea that if you really want to build lasting habits, you have to make them part of your identity. Like telling yourself and others, I don't drink, or I
go to the gym. Yeah, I sort of agree with that. I was the sort of people. I was like, I don't drink. You that drink, you need to drink to have fun. I would like be ashamed of my friends because they needed to drink to have fun. Then I suddenly become this depressed sort of guy. End of relationship, whatever. And I mean, drinking became like. I mean, it's not. I'm not addicted. I was not addicted, but whenever I was partying, I was drinking. And damn, I was the guy that told this sort of thing, like, you drink? How stupid. You're under development still, right? So you're gonna fucking kill your brain. And then I was like, oh, getting drunk so nice. You forget about the feelings you have. You forget about the mistakes you've done. And now I just think it's like it was when I was 18, so many time before, like so many time ago, right? Now I'm 19. So I'm coming back to this kind of thing here. I'm coming back to myself because I think I'm not depressed anymore. I believe, I hope. It's been a while since I don't have any crisis or anything. So, like, I go to the gym. This should be my personality. I should be, because look at these muscles, man. Look at, man. Oh shoot. I'm not gonna show it because I'm ashamed of my body. Because I don't go to the gym for a while because it's so fucking cold here. God damn it. But well, I mean, completely agree with him. I love myself that didn't drink. I loved myself that didn't. I never did any drugs because I think it's waste of time and life.
go to the gym as opposed to I am not going to drink today, or I am going to go to the gym today.
I am going
as
to
these
go to the
unusual deviations from your norm. I also just want to say, I don't think it is wrong to have some degree of pride or even vanity for your looks as part of this motivation. I've seen a lot of young guys tie themselves in knots trying to rationalize why they want to start working out because they feel shame to admit that they just think they would look cooler with bigger muscles. But I can assure you...
Another thing I don't think, I mean, people from my age is so fucking dumb. I'm also a little bit dumb, but I mean, people from the average is even dumber than me. Like, come on, why are you going to the gym? Oh, it's because I need healthy. I need to be healthy. Ah, fuck you. You're 20 years old, you're only caring about your health. Come on, if you're not fat, I'm sorry to use this kind of word, but if you're not fat and you're going to the gym and you look like me, you're thin as fuck, you'll fucking want to gain muscle and you want to look at girls and you want girls to look back at you and you blink at them like that and then you say, hey baby girl. I'm sorry, yeah, I'm gonna stop that right now. Let's just
when you are in your 30s and 40s and you're bigger and stronger than all of your friends because you use that pride to motivate you to maintain your workout regime, you're probably not going to feel too embarrassed about it. All right, now let us talk about opinions and ideas. Yours are going to change over time. I honestly...
I don't think so, JJ. I don't think so. I knew he was just going to talk about something like that. I don't think so. People don't change. This is a thing I've learned. I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to give any advice here, but people just don't change. They change minor stuff about their already conceived ideas, but most people just don't change. Like, they born and they're too dumb to admit they were wrong, and it's hard to admit. It becomes harder and harder to admit you're wrong as time passes. So this is a piece of shit. This is the worst thing about society ever. Actually, there are things that are a bit worse, but this causes a lot of other problems, if I'm correct. I don't know how to make an example out of it, but changing your opinions should be considered alright and not like so difficult. At least here in Brazil, I see this very much. Just don't admit they were wrong. No way. Like, they voted. I'm gonna give an example. All right, I'm gonna give it. Just calm down. All right, settle up. So, in 2002, people voted for Lula. You probably have heard of him, like the actual president of Brazil nowadays. Third term, he was president and he fucking stole everything. He was accused of corruption in every segment he could exist or think of exist. And people still vote for him. Not only vote, but majority of people still vote for him. And then you have the other side. Lula is the left-wing guy, and you have the right-wing guy, Bolsonaro. Same shit. The same exact shit. It was 3 months into the government, the right-wing guy was like surrounded of accusations and stuff, and now he's this far from going to jail because he's so fucking... I don't know if I can say this because he didn't go to jail just as Lula. Lula went to jail, so I can say you're a fucking corrupt. But Bolsonaro did the same exact thing, and people just don't change. People just vote for them, and there are no other options, there are no other things. I'm right. I was right when I voted for Lula, and I was still right when I'm voting this year. And this is so fucking annoying. People don't change their opinions. People don't change. People don't change at all. Dumb people, which is the majority of people in this fucking world, don't change at all. They just don't change. Alright? So let's move on. Alright?
I did not think it would happen to me, but it did. I actually have a pretty cringe memory of thinking to myself when I was in my 20s, I have such rock-solid principles. I will never change my opinion on anything important. I have it all figured out. But of course, the complete opposite happened. I have changed my mind on all sorts of things because the world around me has changed. In the 40 years that I've been alive, I've seen different politicians come and go, different policies succeed and fail, different ideas fall in and out of fashion. While I like to think that my general disposition has stayed pretty consistent over time, I have definitely gotten more conservative on some issues where I used to be quite liberal, and more liberal on some issues where I used to be very conservative. The world is in a constant state of flux, and it is both sane and reasonable to second guess your prior assumptions in the wake of new evidence. Another favorite quote of mine comes from the famous economist John Maynard Keynes, involving some possibly apocryphal interaction he had with one of his critics. The critic is like, "I've been reading your stuff for a long time, Mr. Keynes, and it seems to me that your arguments have been pretty inconsistent over the years." And Keynes replies, "When the facts change, I change my mind. What do you do, sir?" What this means is that it is probably best to carry yourself with some degree of intellectual modesty in your 20s, especially these days. You don't want to humiliate your future self by going on the record proclaiming all of these righteous, sweeping conclusions about the world before you've had a chance to see that much of it. Now, I realize that might come off.
And I just did it. I just did it. I just said everyone is dumb because no one changes its mind. And I mean, of course, people do change their minds, but I mean, from my perspective, from the world I live here in Brazil, where in my state, the reality, the general reality here is just like that, you know? People just, I don't know, it's kind of weird. People just can't say, oh, I was sort of wrong. Like, I was wrong, yeah, I was wrong. Sometimes I don't do it either, so, like, I'm stupid and I'm dumb as well, so whatever.
Off is a little condescending, like an annoyed boomer just trying to get the kids to sit down and shut up. But that's not what I mean. I think it is perfectly fine to have and express opinions in your 20s, but you just got to be aware that there's a very high likelihood that you won't think those things forever. So I would advise picking your intellectual battles carefully. Now that said, it's...
Another thing. Sorry, DJ, sorry. I was stop interrupting you. But there's this thing, I think, like, my personal opinion in the last year has changed so much. Actually, in the last years, of course, I'm 19 years old, what the fuck. But I mean, I care about those things, like, since I'm 13 or something. So, like, I have a political opinion since I'm 13. And I was fucking right-winged. But then I just realized, like, okay, wait a second. Is it right? Because my family is mostly Christian, so most of the things I just, catch up. Yeah, that's also my opinion. Actually, my friend never actually did express so many opinions, but when I asked them, they would say the things I was already thinking, because the internet's just enabling you to see whatever, lots of opinions and stuff. And I seem like, yeah, this is my opinion as well. But then I realized, like, okay, but why? What is the other side? Why is the other side talking? When you do this, sometimes you realize, okay, not that all my opinions I changed. I just as him, I increased. I put some more force on that. But now I just realized I'm not right about anything. Like, about anything. All right, I'm not right about anything. I'm dumb. Don't. Fuck, I don't know how to make a Canadian accent. But I'm not certain about anything anymore. I was completely against abortion. I don't know. I was completely against drugs. I don't know. I just don't know. I literally just don't know. I just assume I don't fucking know. Like, I have some evidence, I have some personal things, but I mean, I'm not one to give an opinion about that. I don't fucking know. Whatever, let's keep going. No one wants to hear me. Everybody hates
Not like this is a perfectly one-way thing either. While I enjoy it when my younger friends defer to my ability to offer historic context to things like trends or current events, I also like deferring to their ability to see things that are familiar to me with fresh perspectives and novel insights, which is, of course, one of the big reasons why it is important to have intergenerational friendships, since they allow you to enjoy so many unique styles and subjects of conversation. And that is perhaps a good transition to my final and most contrarian point, which is that advice is overrated. What I mean by this is just a general concession to the reality that most of us have a rather limited ability to give genuinely persuasive advice as well as take it from others. This isn't really anybody's fault, and it's certainly not some unique failing of young people. I've just realized as I've gotten older that it is very difficult for any of us to apply other people's abstract principles of life to the unique specifics of our own. As the historian Robert Conquest once said, everybody is conservative about what they know best, and there is nothing that we know better than ourselves. And what this means, I have found, is that most of us have an instinctive resistance to advice unless it syncs up with something that we want to hear or a conclusion that we have already reached on our own. This is especially the case with unsolicited advice, which by definition we never wanted to hear in the first place. Most of the big lessons that we learn and the formative conclusions that we reach will come from our own first-hand observations and lived experiences. Sometimes those experiences will make us realize in retrospect that some advice we heard at one time was in fact true and wise. And I feel like it is only in those reflective moments that we truly come to respect advice, but more as an explanation than a prescription. And with that said, I feel like the best strategy when it comes to giving advice is to just state your opinion and then move on. Don't nag people or pester them or get annoyed when they don't seem to be following your brilliant suggestions that you've laid out for them. Just try to find satisfaction in knowing that you told them what you think is best and they can take it or leave it. And even if they do leave it, they still might wind up taking it later. And thus concludes my effort at putting some stuff out there that you can take or leave.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, JJ Mccholouhghoh. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, JJ Mccholouhghoh. He's finishing his video. About the last thing he said here, I appreciate the advice. I will follow with my lesson. I'm kidding. I believe he just summarized some things I was creating in my mind. Now that I'm in my 20s, I can go and listen to JJ. So that's it. Thank you, JJ.